all that
Okay.
was no sound.
We said,
oh, we were funny.
We had such a great monologue.
Man, we were funny. All right, let's do it again.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of WAW, the show where important topics of the day are largely ignored.
And foolishness reigns supreme.
And what I was trying to explain is
the
definition of foolish. We're personifying that tonight as we're trying to run a live stream show on Facebook while the president is giving the State of the Union.
Yeah,
that's foolishness.
Yeah, pretty foolish. But I was saying in silent when you guys couldn't hear me. We should have sent him some kind of an email saying that he was interrupting our silly little foolishness reigns supreme program.
I'm going to have to give him a call after the show and say, "Hey, Joe, didn't you get the memo? The speech needed to end at 7."
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he's going to be ending.
Needed to end at 7 because we start at 7. Is that right?
Exactly.
He needed to end at 7 because we start at 7.
Where are his priorities, right? We've got a great show planned for you tonight.
We do.
We're so excited. This says it all pretty much. I wore this in her honor tonight.
Our beautiful friend.
We've known Katie for quite some time, but there's a lot of things that we've always wondered about, and we've never had the chance to ask her.
Right.
I mean, we've even gone to dinner with her, and afterwards I thought, why didn't I ask her this? So tonight we're going to, not only are we going to have the opportunity to ask those
Katie,
questions.
but we need to properly kind of announce her.
Well, we will. And
okay. All right.
What time is it?
So our friend Katie. We'll be on. We'll properly announce her.
Something tells me if somebody's tuned in right now, they already know who we're talking about, right? Okay, so what's going on this weekend before?
We have birthday parties. We're going to several birthday parties this weekend. Several. We're like kind of back-to-backing them. But you know what? They're all important, and we have to celebrate each one of our friends.
Yeah, but I feel kind of slighted because
the problem is
I didn't have a birthday party, and
you did too. The problem is, it's not a problem, but our friends' birthday parties are literally like at one end of the world, and then we have to travel to the other end of the world.
Yeah,
and then we have to go back the next day to the other end of the world.
I know,
but you know what? We love our friends, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of traveling.
Can you save us a piece of cake? There you are.
Oh, hey. Didn't we have some cake with the long run this last weekend?
We did.
Our good friend,
quite the mess in the green room.
Our good friend Rich brought a cake for our 20-year anniversary, which happened last year with the long run. And we had that at the Canyon in Montclair. And we want to thank you all for coming out to that show.
Yep.
That was so much fun. We were finally back indoors, and you guys were fantastic. What a great audience that was. We can't thank you enough for coming out. Let's see who else has joined us. Brenda, Bob,
Cindy Blassie,
thanks
Eric
for
Taylor,
clicking on, guys. Hey,
Manny
Eric.
Dominguez. Hello, Manny. It's been a year since we've seen Manny. Wow.
I know, Manny. It's been quite some time.
But after we all get that shot in the arm, I feel like we're all going to be able to see each other again. And
yeah, that's true.
And make it happen.
Close. Rose said we left the cake in the green room. Did you know that?
I did. And you know what? It actually was there the next day from what I hear from the prior band. I mean, the next band. Yeah. It was there the next day.
Cindy said thanks to TLR for being the featured band on her birthday. Yeah. Did you know that? She came out for her birthday.
I did know that.
Patty Jacobs came out.
Hey, you guys, guess what?
Last week for her birthday.
TLR is going to be playing for my birthday, which is May 15th.
Yeah, that's right.
Hi, Valerie. May 15th, where? Where is TLR playing?
We're going to be playing at the Canyon Club in Agora.
Yep.
So mark your calendars for that one. May 15th, it's going to be Blondie's birthday.
Blondie's birthday. She's going to be 42. That sounds like a good
42? age. I think you're a few years off.
42 sounds good. I want to be 42.
Yeah, there's Valerie. Yeah, we can see
So Manny
Valerie.
just says he just took a shot now. Manny, you just took a shot?
Yeah, the shot
Manny?
just now.
Manny, oh,
something tells me it wasn't.
I have not filled up my wine glass yet because you know why? You know why? Because Jim Wooten always says, don't start drinking before the show. Drink in the middle of the show because I'm tired of carrying you through the entire show. It's a fun show, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But we need you to stay coherent here. So
Yeah. That's what I have you for. To keep me coherent.
Oh man.
All right. So
Estelle is
let's
joining Manny.
announce.
Estelle is say hello to Estelle
Hi,
for
Estelle.
us, man.
So let's
and
announce
Manny Jr. Hey,
who we have
guys,
tonight,
thanks for-
because we have, I mean, this is a special show.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
And we're going to be bringing her on in just a few minutes.
He doesn't want to tell you.
What?
But you know, why don't you say
like I said, the people that have already joined us, I think they have a good idea of who our
Are you
guest
trying to
is
like
tonight.
surprise everybody?
I'm not trying to surprise everybody.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, we need to mention our sponsor.
All right. Sponsor is Calvin from Calvin's Auto Repair. The best mechanic around. If you guys need a mechanic, he's located in Burbank, Glendale, California.
California.
This guy, I'm telling you, we spent 20 years just getting ripped off by mechanics.
Or she did, and I would have to come and
until
I'd
I
have to
started
come
learning
and
about
rescue
cars.
her.
This guy is amazing.
Yeah.
He will tell you what needs to happen, not what needs to happen today, but he'll tell you what needs to happen in 2 months.
He won't replace things that don't need to be
Exactly
replaced.
right.
Let's
He's
put it that
amazing.
way.
So Calvin's Auto Repair. He is located at 501 East Glen Oaks Boulevard in Glendale, California.
That's right.
And he is.
And don't forget,
amazing.
if you go and you have some work done by Calvin, remember to mention WAW, and he will give you
10% off. Yep. 10% off. So if you want to get your, and I'm going to say this right, catalytic converter for $4,000, he will give you
$4,000.
Well, that's how much it is.
No, it's like $1,300.
Oh, all
depending on the vehicle.
Well, what is $4,000 then? Oh,
that
transmission.
that would be your engine.
Transmission.
That would be your engine.
Okay. All right.
So
if you need to get an engine.
Yeah, that would mean $400 off.
Yep.
That would be great.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
We're getting close to the hour.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
let's get right into this because we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions.
Yeah.
We've got a little video to show you.
All right. So we're going to do a little pre-sequel to our guest. Hopefully she likes it because she hasn't seen this yet.
Yeah.
So I hope you like it, Katie, because I'm sorry if you don't, but I tried.
You got to take Calvin's Auto Repair off.
I'm going to take that off.
That's not.
All right.
That's not part of the
all right.
show at this point.
All right, you guys ready? All right. You're going to see our guests right after this.
Whether you wanted to or not, we are officially live on AXS TV. We are live from the Roxy on Sunset Boulevard. That's right. It is a great time, friends. I'm Katie Daryl, and you are watching the world's greatest tribute band! Hey there, I'm Katie Daryl, and this is the Top 10 Revealed. Today, we're counting down the most epic songs of 1988.
In 1988, the hair band still ruled, and the power ballads ruled the airwaves. It was a great time for rock and roll. Oh!
Every Thursday night, from the people who brought you the Top 10 Revealed, the nostalgic new series, the very, very best of the 70s.
Wow, how cool. Something new and very exciting.
Take a look back at the 70s as experts count down the most iconic television, film, and pop culture
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
sirens.
I'm a huge fan.
I must see everyone.
The countdown is on. 3, 2, 1. The very, very best of the 70s. Thursdays at 8/7 Central on AXS TV.
Katie,
Hello.
welcome.
by myself even. I was like, oh yeah, that's great. I feel you're like my fairy godmother. I mean, like my mom hypes me up all the time, but like now you're hyping me. This is great. Cheers. Thank you,
I'm a proud mama. Cheers. Cheers.
Oh,
Cheers, sister. Cheers.
You guys, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, we're thrilled
so
to death.
honored to have you, Katie.
just love
this
you.
is awesome. This is so cool.
I'm gonna admit, I had been waiting for my invite. I really had been. I was like, Gig gets to come on. Like, where's my invite, Gig? I love you, Gig. But I mean, I truly, I was like, I'm okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Well, we decided to save you for the special night. That we figured if anybody can compete,
The president, thanks.
this would be you.
You
Really gonna pull in the ratings now.
we need big on this night.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Perfect. You're gonna have me back against the Super Bowl in 2022 as well, right?
We got to bring you out for special occasions, Katie.
I see that Jim and you picked the same wardrobe
There we go.
tonight.
Coordinated. I love it.
I picked my Sons of Anarchy.
Hey, what?
My sons. My
come on,
sons.
man.
I love it. I love it. This is like the season 1, 2, and 3 shirt, and then we switched to black. So
Yes.
I will say that Jim's version breathes a lot better than mine. This one is really soft. But if you try to work out in it, or if it's like hot, like I don't have the AC on right now, I feel like I'm in a garbage bag right now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose 10 pounds by the end of this conversation.
Oh man, yeah, I have that one as well, but
You
I
do.
couldn't find it. I couldn't
It
find
doesn't
it.
breathe.
Yeah, that's one of your favorites. So you
No,
wear that a lot, actually.
And something, I don't know why, but I've only got 2 shirts, and I was on the show 4 times. So
Yes. Okay. I remember this because you were one of the people that, like, every time you went to the dressing room, someone had stolen your T-shirts because, you know, listen, the world's greatest tribute bands had a budget, a very small budget, no budget.
Yes.
And so the one perk I had is I'd had like a T-shirt for every band guy, and I put them in the dressing room. But people started to get wind of this and like would sneak up there and steal people's T-shirts. So there is someone out there who has four Jim shirts, but Jim doesn't have his 4. I'm sorry. I should do another order of them. I really should, like, and just like let everyone just pay for their own.
maybe when we do the reunion again, Katie.
I hope so.
Because we're going to do that again, right?
We are.
Right?
Hey, as soon as it's safe and we can do it, like, I'm totally on board to do another reunion. Absolutely.
All right.
That's
Let's
awesome.
be honest, Brenda does all the work anyways. I just show up in a bloody dress. So.
Love it.
We just sit back and listen to what she tells us to do. Right?
Yeah.
No, Brenda is great. She's a great showrunner. Like, I have to say, I was really impressed. I mean, so I'm going to toot Brenda's horn a little bit here.
Oh, no, that's fun.
I don't know if I get a 10% discount for horn honking at the car place, but I mean, anyways, yeah, no, this is really well organized. Your like welcome letters really organized. Listen, over on AXS TV, I'm doing things like this, you know, every week, and your welcome letters are way better than the one I send to literally Alice Cooper. And I was talking to Nancy Wilson earlier today from Heart, and I just sent her an email that was like, "Yo, log on at like 3 p.m. We're gonna chat." Like, yours has graphics, so I might be hiring you. All right, enough about me BSing. Go.
I love that.
No, that's what
I love that.
That's the kind of stuff we love to hear. We've been, by the way, we love those little segments where you're interviewing Paul Stanley,
So
Tommy
good.
Shaw.
Oh
That
my
is just
gosh.
awesome.
And you know what we just watched last night? And I had no idea. You interviewed Jason Bonham. I had no idea. I didn't.
Yes.
We watched that last night.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, what's really funny is like, so getting to interview all these rock stars now we're talking about, so those of you, since World's Greatest Tribute Bands, you know, I'm still over at AXS TV. I'm doing a variety of things. Every Sunday night we have the top 10 revealed. We'll talk more about that. New season premiering May 9th, by the way. But then on Fridays, you can check out, I do the Music High Five, and it's this 5-minute, you know, weekly news program. And I interview people for that and tell you like what's happening in the news. Like, oh, Billie Eilish is dropping a new album. Yay. Oh, did you know that Ted Nugent now has COVID, even though he said he didn't believe in COVID? So it's like a little music news thing. Then I do At Home and Social, where I interview rock stars. And it's a long form, like 20-minute interview with like Alice Cooper and you know, Nancy Wilson of Heart and Jason Bonham. Then I also do these things called Rock and Tell, where I talk to some of those similar people and they, you know, for 10 minutes show me off like cool gear, like, oh, I love this guitar, or this is something my dad left for me. We have another thing premiering in July. We could talk about that later. But nonetheless, when I'm talking to people like Jason Bonham, right, or Nancy Wilson, or I just talked to Mick Fleetwood, and all I could think about is like, I need to call my tribute people to be like, hey, I'm talking to like a member of the band that you're paying tribute to. What questions do you have? Or, do you want to be a fly on the wall? And I'm just so busy. I like literally haven't had time to email, but I wanted to like, drop like Michelle, obviously, and Bob a note to be like, I'm going to be talking to Mick Fleetwood.
Yes.
Tell me what to ask so I sound really, really smart. Like, could you imagine if I pulled out some like weird, like, oh, in this song, I know you drop and tune down. He'd be like, whoa.
Oh, man. Well, you know what, Katie, are you going to be interviewing any of the guys from Crosby, Stills and Nash?
I don't have anything on the docket right now. I had put out a request to Neil Young's people, and they said he wasn't doing anything at the time. But that was while the election was going on, so I know he had a lot going on.
Okay. Well, if that ever happens, please contact me because I got a ton
He'd
of
be
things
all over it. He'd be all over it.
Sure thing.
Oh yeah. I'm kind of a CSNY historian. So, but some of the things that I've never learned about, I would love to have you ask them. So,
and I think all of his questions would be nothing about the personal life and all about the musical part of it.
Oh yeah.
It would all be music questions.
You know what, though? I find when I'm talking to these different artists, those are the questions they actually appreciate the most, because it means that you've done your homework. You really appreciate, this stuff. It's more techie. I mean, it's so easy to go to Wikipedia and be like, so tell me about when you worked at Hooters before becoming famous. Like, everyone has asked that question. So finding those deeper questions are the ones that I think are meaningful.
Yes, absolutely.
So from now on, I'm going to just tell you who I'm interviewing, and you're just going to send me the question.
Okay, that sounds good. That's a deal.
Yeah. So we have one from Manny. Says David Crosby. David Crosby is hiding.
Hiding?
I don't know what that means, Manny.
Yeah. He's probably the most.
He might be
accessible
hiding. He
one.
might be hiding. I love Katie Daryl's Nancy Drew and Hardy Board books.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Look at they're zooming in. They're zooming.
Good eye. I did just interview someone recently that did mention those. And maybe it was the guys from like OK Go. They were like, is that Nancy Drew on your bookshelf? I was like, it is.
Nancy Drew.
My big sister, Erin, well, actually, those books belong to my oldest sister, Sonia. But the middle sister between Sonia and I is Erin. And Erin, like, basically, when I moved into my house during the pandemic, she did all the decorating and curating of items on like my tchotchke shelf. So like, just so much, she did it all for me. And so I told her, I was like, well, I need some color and some blues back here. And like, boom, she showed up the next day with those books. My other sister saw them and was like, you stole my Hardy Boy books from Mom and Dad's garage. We're like, you abandoned them in Mom and Dad's garage like 37 years ago.
There's a lot of treasures in Mom and Dad's garage. I just went to Dad's garage a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of treasures.
Hey, by the way, Katie, a few weeks back, we started implementing a segment of the program where we have everybody that's tuning in let us know who's having the best hair day between the two of us. So tonight we're giving you that honor. We're not even we're going to relinquish that honor to you right now.
We got Katie Daryl on the show. She's got the best hair day.
We can't compete.
I'm out. He's out.
Thank you. Although I do always say that Jim has unicorn hair. So.
Unicorn hair.
It's like unicorn hair. It's like a unicorn mane.
But I've been losing to her every week, though, Katie.
Well, I mean, she puts in the time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the color. It's the color that
you got the color. Right. You get. Jim, you wash and go, and that's great because that works for you. But I can tell she's putting in the time. Did I freeze or you freeze? What happened? Oh no. Oh no, wait. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm frozen.
Well,
I don't even know what happened.
Katie, we've got so many people tuning in that we're breaking the internet here.
Can you hear us?
Katie?
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Wait, was that my fault or yours?
No. I think we have so many people logged in. We're breaking the.
Stop! You're doing it again. Oh no! Wait. Okay, there we are.
The internet.
Now I'm sweating in this shirt that won't breathe again, you guys. I'm gonna have pit stains by the end of this. You're stressing me out.
So Darren says, "Yay, you're back. We're back. We're back.
We are back.
Katie broke the internet."
Wait, Darren says that David Crosby hacked into the feed.
David Crosby hacked into.
Yeah, exactly.
All
right.
Yeah, if you
We're
ever,
back.
if you
We're
ever
back.
have an opportunity to interview him, Katie, that would be a very interesting interview. Believe me, I listen to his podcast all the time. He's a very interesting guy.
Let's jump into a little bit about Katie.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Katie, every interview we've ever seen with you, you're usually, talking about the
Everybody
projects you're
else.
involved
Yeah.
in. But we wanted to get a little bit of personal information, like where were you born?
God, I didn't know that there's going to be a quiz. I have my sound bites prepared. I can. Okay, so I was born in Ohio. I was born in Columbus, Ohio.
Wow.
The hospital is St. Anne's. I have two big sisters. My parents, Connie and CJ, are still married. They 50 years, you guys. Pretty amazing. Wow. So yeah, I was born in Ohio, but we moved to Arizona when I was about 2. And so I grew up in Arizona, went to an all-girls Catholic high school, played on the golf team, national champions.
Wow.
And then I went to Arizona State University and went to the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcasting.
Wow.
Do you want me to keep going?
Well, that leads into the next question is, did you always have aspirations to be in the entertainment business? And when do you remember growing up when you wanted to do that?
Sure. So my dad and my sister Erin did community theater, right? So they were in a play, and then I think they invited, like, when they got cast in the play, they said, like, oh, that little one who comes to all the rehearsals like every night, because like she's the tag along, she can get up and be like in the chorus or the ensemble. And so I started, doing community theater with my dad and my sister, and kind of kept getting roles because they're like, that cute little blonde one, she can stand in the background and we'll make her an angel or something like that. And so I got really interested in theater and acting. I wasn't any good at it, but I liked doing it. I was a bit of a ham. I don't think I was the type of kid that would like be like, hey, my parents have friends over, let me do a show. I don't think I was that annoying. Sorry if your kid does that.
No,
it doesn't.
No.
So I don't think I did that. If I did, I apologize to my parents' friends now. But yeah, I liked acting, but then I got into radio. my dad actually took me to, there was like, they remember when like Radio Disney was around?
Yeah.
So Radio Disney started when I was young. That's how old I am. And there was like an audition at like the local mall that was like, hey, bring your kids down here and see if they can be like our part-time radio DJ co-host. And I did it. And my dad was always into like, you know, hey, you got to have a shtick, right? And you guys know that, you know, got to have your thing. And so when I did my audition at the mall, I as I was talking and telling them about myself, I was juggling the whole time. I had like juggling balls, and I'd learned how to juggle because I learned from someone who was in a Shakespearean festival in Arizona. So I was juggling and being like, and that's why I should be on radio. And they hired me, and I started doing radio when I was in high school. I would do one day a week after school from 3 to 5 p.m. I would be like on this Radio Disney channel. And I ended up, you know, I was like 14 years old, and you know, I made friends with the program director and the people at the radio station. And the sister radio station was a classic rock station playing the hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, right?
Yeah.
And so when I turned about 17 or 18, they said, hey, do you want to work in the promotions department at this classic rock station? So I started doing classic rock. And then I eventually, this is Mochi, by the way. I'm dog sitting.
It's your baby. Oh my God.
Just dog sitting for what feels like eternity.
Oh gosh.
So I was doing this classic rock thing, and then they gave me a chance to start jockeying on Saturday nights, like from 8 till midnight. So I became a radio DJ in Phoenix. And so I loved it. And that's where I found my passion for classic rock. That, you know, I mean, my parents, I grew up on the Beatles and Paul Simon and like some Tracy Chapman and that stuff. But I feel, and the Rolling Stones, of course, my dad's favorite. But I really got, you know, classic rock into my blood by working at this classic rock station. And I thought that was it. I was like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just wanted to work in radio. I still want to work in radio again now. I love it. I love live. I love live. I mean, that's what World's Greatest Tribute Bands was, you know, being live. I never thought about being on television, to be 100% honest. Like, and I know this is going to sound like I'm fishing for compliments or something. I didn't think I was pretty enough to be on TV. I thought, this is great. I'm going to be on radio, and, you know, I can do this, and this is great, but like, I'll never get to be on TV because that's this pretty people thing. And also I thought TV was only two things. It was either you were a news broadcaster. So then I was like, oh, you have to be pretty and smart. Shit, double shit. And then I thought, like, you work at MTV, and well, that job belongs to Matt Pinfield, period. I don't. I think my mom's watching, so I need to probably make sure I watch my P's and Q's. But I went to a concert one night with one of my girlfriends.
That is, I have to tell you,
The
the fact that my mom is watching kind of curtails my entire hour on whatever I do.
Well, so I went to a concert with my girlfriend Taryn, and we may have been indulging in some substances. Okay. And after the concert, we were sitting on the top of the parking structure, as one does. Yeah. Because that's really good thinking. And so we were sitting up there, and I just said to her, I was like, I'm going to work at MTV. I'm going to do it. And about a month later, my big sister, the oldest sister, Sonia, emailed me, and because they did have email back then. And she's like, hey, I heard that MTV is doing this thing where they're going around to different campuses and interviewing students to see if they would be their correspondents for the Rock the Vote, Choose or Lose campaign for the presidential election of 2000. They're not coming to Arizona State University, but I know if you put together a tape, I know who to send it to because they're going to these other universities. And so I was at ASU at the time, and I went to the broadcasting department, and I checked out a VHS camcorder, friends, and I put it on a tripod, and I auditioned, and I sent it to MTV via my sister. And within like 3 days after mailing it off, I got a call, and they said, we're going to fly you to LA, and you're going to audition for MTV in person. And on the spot, I remember they said, we're flying you out to, we're sending it, we're getting a car to take you from the airport to the MTV studios, but we're not getting a car back to the airport for you. You have to handle that.
That's how it works.
Man.
And when I left the audition, they gave me cash and they're like, here's money to go back to the airport. And I was like, I think they like me.
Wow.
So I got hired at MTV. And so then I started working at MTV. And then from MTV, I started working for Mark Cuban and what was HDNet and now AXS TV. And that's the story.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah. Now we know the answer to this, but some of the viewers may not. So are you married, kids? Do you have any pets?
Yeah.
So I used to have a little dog similar to this one named Pocket. He was a Yorkie, and sadly, he passed away when my son was about 1 year old. And I was one of those dog owners that, like, as I was pregnant, I was like, oh, I hope I love the baby as much as my dog. I couldn't imagine that. And so sadly, the day my child was born, my dog became a dog and was no longer a baby because I was just, oh.
Yeah.
So I have a son. I'm married. My husband, Eddie. Anyone who's come to the World's Greatest Tribute Band shows, they know who Eddie is. You know, Eddie is at my table every week. Eddie missed one show. I think Eddie missed one show, and I can't. God, I'll have to ask. He's putting my son Hawkeye, who is 5 years old, down for bed right now. He's reading him The Hobbit. My dad read us The Hobbit when we were growing up, and so he's doing that as well. But yeah, so I think Eddie missed one show. And there were a couple of my friends that were 100% regulars. My friend Kevin, I think he may have missed like the first 4, but then he came to all of them. My sister-in-law, Amy, and brother-in-law, Darren. I mean, I think they came to a show literally from the Golden Globes one year. Like they only missed it if they were out of town. So there are some regulars.
Yes. Yeah, they were very,
and it was there for the record. So I've heard the talk. I've heard the talk, you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, I had the VIP section, and I had to have that like roped off area. And
You did.
I know, and it was a real dickish thing. But like, so many people would come over and like just like squat next to my sister-in-law, Amy. My sister-in-law is Amy Adams. And so it would be like, and just like trying to take selfies in the middle of the show. And it just wasn't fair. Like first off, it's distracting to me because I'm in the middle of trying to do a live broadcast. So I'm also focused, and like someone pushing me out of the way to get to her is like, okay, this is the TV working zone. And they just happen to be working in it. So it wasn't a, I think I'm better or whatnot. It was distracting because some people, and it was never the usual World's Greatest Tribute Band alumni. Everyone was cool. It was, guests of alumni.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
no,
and she wants to have a
totally
good time. I get
understandable.
that. I mean, she wants to have a good time, and she doesn't want to be harassed the entire time. And I love that you're so protective of her. And that is so cool. I think that's very beautiful that you protect her.
Well,
in a good.
And it's not a her thing. I'm kind of protective of everyone. Like you know, if someone's getting too close to like Kenny Metcalf, not that I think that's ever possible because I think Kenny Metcalf wants life to sit on his lap. But if someone did, I'd be like, yo, back off of Kenny. You're like being a creep. So,
well,
you know.
also, Eddie had a hand in the production of the show as well.
Yeah, he did.
Right? Was he just there for support?
Yes and no. And I have to say, like, he was not on the payroll.
Yes.
He's very involved with my other shows at AXS TV. He directs and he writes and he produces with me for the Top 10 Revealed and the very, very best of the 70s.
Yes.
And as any good spouse, he's 1,000% my sounding board, you know? So like pillow talk is me being like, hey, babe, can you do my expense report for me? No, it's a little bit sexier than that. But when it comes to the World's Greatest Tribute Bands, he wasn't on the payroll, but he 100% helped me select the bands because it was such a hard, grueling process. There's so many talented bands out there. And, you know, especially when there were 2 of the same tribute.
Oh, yeah.
That would go head to head. And I'd be like, I really need a tiebreaker in this. He really would help me. Specifically, I remember one of the bands, and now looking back at it, there should have been no doubt in my mind who was the clear winner. but I was debating between two U2 tributes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, Hollywood U2, Joe
Mm-hmm.
has been on the show 1,001 times. And
Right.
anytime I was like, yeah, he's great. He is Bono, and he is such a great tribute to U2.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But it was like season 1 that I had him on, and I was still getting my sea legs to the show and trying to curate like who are going to be the first 12 bands of season 1. And I had been given, this one band that came highly recommended and was being pushed at me very aggressively, and good job for their talent booker because they pushed hard. But I kept coming back, and I was like, but there's something about this other band that like I found, because he hadn't even submitted, because those first 12 bands weren't like submitted bands. I had to find them because no one knew about the show to start submitting. And so something, I was drawn to Joe, but I kind of kept going back and forth, and I was like, what am I, maybe I'm doing this wrong because I keep being pushed about this one. And so I brought Eddie in, and like I was like, can you listen to this, okay, and this? And he literally, basically he was like, that guy, no doubt. And I was like, thank you. And he gets the credit, but I might be a little tone deaf as well. So thank God Eddie's a singer and everything. So he can hear those nuances and those things where he's like, no, that guy didn't hit it. That guy hit it. So.
Yeah. No, I know it's tough because there's a lot of great bands doing a tribute to the same artist.
Yeah.
Now, so we know how you got involved with AXS TV. What was what were your first what was your initial assignments once you started
AXS TV?
At AXS.
At AXS, yeah.
Okay, so when I started, it was when it was called HDNet, and my first thing, I was co-hosting the Mark Cuban show. A lot of people don't know about this little gem that's out there.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban was hosting a basketball weekly show because he owns the Dallas Mavericks, and that's who owned HDNet. He's now just a minority partner, share owner in AXS TV. But when he started this basketball show, and I got hired to be a co-host with them. So think of it as like Regis and Kelly, or whoever's with Kelly these days. But so it was Katie and Mark. And I would go out and do field packages and interview Dallas Mavs players, or go on like fun spoof Saturday Night Live type skit dates with like the Mavs man, and do like these little packages, and then come back and talk to Mark about it. And so that was kind of like, that was broadcast in Dallas locally on like the local UPN channel, but also on HDNet because they were filming and using all the HDNet high definition gear. You got to remember, this was back in 2000.
Sure.
People didn't have high definition.
Yeah.
They didn't. It was, truly, like no one had high definition. No one understood why we were going to have to get high definition. The idea of having high definition like on your phone was just like, what was the point? Why do you need that type of quality? It would never happen. So I one day after the show said to Mark, I have an idea. How about, for your HDNet network, why don't I interview rock stars and show their concerts? And this was just my way to meet like rock dudes, because I was like, wouldn't that be great, right? I'm like,
yes,
go backstage with Tommy Lee. And he said yes. And so I started producing and booking and hosting this show that was called True Music. And it was the first original program that had a sponsor on HDNet. This was the first sponsored high definition television show. Yay me. It was sponsored by Budweiser. And so I started doing that, and I did that for like 400 episodes. And I interviewed everyone from Ted Nugent to Tommy Lee, to just like up and coming bands all over the place. It was amazing.
What was it like interviewing Uncle Ted?
Oh my! I remember I use one of his sound bites still to this day in one of my host reels, where I said to him, I was like, like, what is it like to have, gone platinum 8 times over and won X, Y, and Z awards? And he's like, he's chewing on gum or something. And he's like, those things are cute, Katie. And I was like, Ted Nugent using the word cute. I literally use that soundbite all the time. He was actually lovely. He was pushing a book at the time called Kill It or Grill It.
Hey,
your mom, I think your mom's on right now. Your mom
there
says,
you go. She got my
picture with Manny.
Oh man.
Come on.
Well, okay. So, whose idea was the world's greatest tribute band show? Who came up with that idea?
That was Mark Cuban. That was
Mark.
100% Mark Cuban. Yeah.
Wow.
So from True Music, so I did that for like 4 years at the network,
Yeah.
and then I started doing a show called Deadline. Hey, all the creeps out there who used to watch Deadline, don't admit it to your wife. Basically, every week I would go and like do some weird adventure. I was like an Instagram story person before Instagram existed. So I'd be like, I'm going to Vegas and I'm going to walk the tightrope at the Caesar's Palace in a bikini and go do it. Or they'd be like, today I'm going to go skydiving in Southern California in a bikini. So everything was like in a bikini, but you know, with my personality and like me asking questions and making like terrible innuendo jokes and like, oh, you're going to be on my back? Is that your parachute, or are you just happy to go skydiving? You know, I thought it was hilarious.
That's great.
So after Deadline, when HDNet turned to AXS TV and teamed up with AEG, we had to clean it up. No more. Get that girl some clothes.
Yeah.
You stop interviewing porn stars and just clean up the network, and we're going to go really music heavy. And so Mark said to me, well, your new job is tribute bands. I still have the email. Truly, it was like 2 sentences. And it was like, your new job is tribute bands. Here's a document. And he sent me like an Excel file that someone had found, like 12 tribute bands.
Yes.
And I was just like, what's this? And I really thought it was a death wish. I thought, okay, well, I'm getting pushed out to pasture because I'm old and not pretty enough for television. I knew it. And I just dug in. And at first, I mean, I did not have any other direction other than I was supposed to do this thing and it was going to be live. And we weren't paying bands. Sorry if I wasn't supposed to say that, but I didn't. I had no money. I was given such little money and had to do a live show, get a venue to allow me to do this, have the camera crew, 3 cameras and a jib, a lighting guy, rent the fog machine, rent lasers and do all this stuff. And I was given no money. And I had to do all of it myself. Usually in the business, there's a showrunner, a producer, a host, a talent booker, and I had to do it all myself. Accountant, and I had to do it all. And so that's how the show was affordable, is because I can be used and abused. But yeah, I can't remember what the question was. Oh, so he said do this, and I mean, at one point we were looking at what is the venue we were thinking? At first we thought, we'll rent a soundstage at SAR and just do like private things,
sure,
and not really have a live audience. And then we thought about, what is the name of? There's like a Mexican restaurant cantina that sometimes has like a stage at it down in Manhattan Beach.
Manhattan. Oh, was that the Lido Theater? No,
God, that was just too big. I'm talking about like there's a shoebox in the corner that the band gets to stand on. Like,
wow.
I'm gonna think of it, but it was basically like El Pollo Loco. We were like, El Pollo Loco has a stage that's 8 by 8 feet. Maybe we could perform on this stage.
I love that.
Because they'll give us the venue for free. And then finally, I just was like, Katie, you have to think bigger. Like this isn't a death wish. Like, think bigger, make this big. This is a live television production. Like, where do people want to see music, and what would make this iconic? And I was like, the Sunset Strip. Duh. I lived off the Sunset Strip at the time. And, so I talked to the Roxy, and we did the first 2 seasons at the Roxy and the rest of them at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And that first show, I literally thought I was going to throw up.
Yeah. In fact, that's what I was going to ask you was, do you remember the first show, and what were your feelings going into it?
So the first show, I knew I had to come out big. I needed to do something that was a big tribute, that was very costume heavy and very iconic music.
Yes.
The Beatles. I think that was the best decision. And if I had to do it all over again, I still would go with the Beatles. Come here, baby. I need to say goodnight to my buddy.
Hey,
Hi, Hawkeye. Hi, baby boy. Hi. Aw, beautiful. Is it almost bedtime, Hawkeye? No?
You say goodnight, everybody? All right. Yeah.
Ah.
Real buzzkill, real
All right,
buzzkill.
a little appearance from Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Good night, baby. I love you.
So
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
I am so bummed that he was on such a very strict schedule during World's Greatest Tribute Bands as a baby / toddler, because I was always like, you have to be in bed by 6:30. So he never came to a single show. But not that he would remember it, but it would have been nice to show him off. The first show. So I stand by that the Beatles was the best decision. We had Britain's Finest. It was Britain's Finest.
Yeah,
Later we had the Fab Four. Both bands are so talented.
Oh,
Yeah.
Guys are so nice. I mean, I would love to do an episode where both of those bands are on stage together, and just like to have two Pauls.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Yes.
But I remember just being so nervous for the tech reasons. Like, is this show going to go off live? Is the satellite going to go down? Like, will the technology hold up? Because we were, using this small Sprinter van. So I was nervous about that. I was nervous about like the lighting and just the camera angles and the jib. And was an audience going to show up? I mean, were people going to actually fill this room? Because I was just giving away these free tickets and hoping people would show up and spread the word. Like, was there going to be an audience? And sure enough, it was jammed to the walls, sweat fest. And when I did the introduction, because we had a curtain then, because it was the Roxy, and I was like, ladies and gentlemen, the world's greatest tribute bands, please welcome Britain's Finest, raise that curtain. And I always had to have a gesture with my hand, because the lighting director who handled the curtain at the Roxy, his name is Bole, but he's hard of hearing. And so he couldn't hear me say those things. So we decided I had to say, raise that curtain. And on the third one, that curtain better be going up. So that's why the hand gesture was there. And the band started playing, and I watched for about 30 seconds. And then I went to Eddie and I was like, oh my God, I thought I was going to throw up, because I was so nervous and just so terrified that something was going to happen. And when I saw it, like, it's happening, and I could see the monitor that it was streaming like and on television, I was like, and then they all started throwing up everywhere.
But I have to say, I've always been impressed with the minute I knew you were going to go on camera, you were just like, you came alive. It was amazing.
Thank you. It was fun. I love live television, and that goes back to my radio days. I like the power of live. I like telling a story immediately. I don't like having to go into edit and something not being given to the public for days or weeks. I love it. I loved that show. Watching the teaser that you put together, Brenda, made me just like sad.
Well, that first clip that was on that video, Katie, was from the very first show.
First show.
Oh my God.
First show.
You guys, it was so much fun.
And I mean, top 10 revealed, but then I actually got to
wait. We still have more questions about World's Greatest.
All right.
We haven't even.
I've got all the time in the world, so I know you guys wrap at 8, but I could go to 9.
Because your career is like, we're going to be 2 hours into this.
Is there a problem with
No,
that?
it's great. I love it. I love it. I love
The
it.
problem is I need Eddie to finish reading the book, so he
I might need another bottle of
There you
wine.
Well, what was your most memorable moment on World's Greatest, Katie? Does anything stand out above the others?
Yes, there are some moments, but they're not necessarily. They're selfishly not about the band. Okay.
Yeah.
The first time we had a big technical issue was with our Motley Crue tribute. Raise one for Larry, you guys. Getting verklempt. So at the end of the show, they were playing Livewire, and Ozzy, Ozzy's his name. I love Ozzy. Sexy too. Ozzy's something went wrong with his guitar or the amp on live wire, and we lost like lead guitar, and like there was no sound, and it was just like, what do you mean we're not like these? So, and I remember like everyone jumped into action. It was just like, thank God there were all these, you know, tribute people there, because like it was like an army of humans ran side stage to be like pulling out cords. Like people were like getting duct tape out of their underwear and fixing stuff up. And I was like, it was crazy. It was like a Disney movie of like roaches that came out like all happy dancing and like cool gear, fixing Ozzy's gear and getting the production back on live television.
Right.
So that was good, because that was also like my worst nightmare of like what happens.
That
Like,
was the next question was going to be what was the most memorable disaster that happened?
So then there was another disaster, and I believe it was with our Garth Brooks tribute, our satellite. No, the truck's generator went down.
Oh wait, wasn't that Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, I remember that. That's right.
Paradise. Yes,
We were watching. That's right.
it was the first time we didn't make air. It was supposed to be live at 7 p.m. It was the first time that we didn't make air, and it got pushed to like, and I kept being like, push it to 7:30, and finally I just had to surrender that it was going to be an 8 o'clock broadcast. And so that was really a bummer. But it did show, I mean, listen, I had a friend who was part owner in Siren Studios, which was right down the street. And I knew that they house equipment and gear and generators. And the generator went down. And no finger pointing, but like everyone kind of stood around going, now what? And I was like, fucking get a generator. And I spoke down with my friend, and he answered the phone, and he had come to many shows. His name is Jay. And as soon as he answered the phone, he goes, Daryl, what's the problem? And I was like, yeah, there's a problem. I need a generator. He's like, when do you need it by? I was like, I need it 15 minutes ago. And he's like, I got a guy. And some guy showed up within 22 minutes with his generator, and we got back on air, and like, it was amazing. But from that point on, I mean, if you thought my sphincter was tight at episode 1, every episode, I was just like, I think for a good like 5 or 6 episodes, I then just like rented a spare generator just to have. So it's like,
I would.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, I don't remember how many episodes you had in the first season, but how did you arrive at the artist that you decided to do a tribute to for that first season?
So who chose? Who chose?
Okay. I would say it was 70-30, 70 me, 30 Mark. Listen, when it comes to tribute bands and classic rock and our station, there's the big hitters, right? I mean, the Beatles had to be there. U2 had to be there. We just wanted things that were just very recognizable, where when you have an hour of music and only 12 songs to play, every single one of them is a number 1 hit. No B-sides, right? So like Elton, Kenny Metcalf fell in there. Did we finish the season with Zapp?
No, actually,
it
wasn't on until the third season.
No, come on, it was season 2.
Yeah,
Was it season? Oh, you're right. It was 2. Yeah,
Because I remember that was the first one that Amy ever came to.
That was the first.
No, actually, I lied. Her first one, I think, was Depeche Mode, and that was season 1, maybe.
Yes,
or 2. But yeah, so we just knew we had to go with some big, heavy hitters, and I just kind of would. Every time I found a band that I was passionate about, I then would send it to Mark, and he basically approved it. And some bands he didn't approve right away. I remember like No Duh. I really liked No Duh from the get-go, especially because I was like, I need to get like a female on here too. And he just was like, that's just not our viewer right now. That's quote unquote too young for our viewer at the time, Wow. And so, yeah, they got pushed off to like season 4 or 5, which was when like Mark was just like, do whatever you want. I don't care. Here's the checkbook. Just like get the show done, which was really fun, because then I really got to start like getting obscure bands and stuff. Beastie Boys.
Well, why do you think Mark was so intrigued with tribute bands? Do you have any idea?
That's a great question. No, let's call him. Just kidding. Hey, Mark. Yeah, what's up? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Jim. He says your hair looks great. So no, I think it was just someone had sent him an email once about like there was a tribute fest of some sort, and he liked the idea of that. And I think he saw, no. He saw the Doors tribute. The Doors tribute that I had on
Wild
Child.
Wild Child. I'm sure.
Wild Child.
Wild Child.
So he had seen Wild Child.
Yeah.
And he had then heard that there was this tribute fest of some sort happening somewhere. And I think the dollars like signs went off or whatever, where he's like, wait, there's enough of these that it, can be a fest.
Yes.
Like then we can make a show out of this. And I think he had like an intern once like put together that weird Google Doc that I told you about, or Excel file back in the day. And that's where he realized that these bands existed. But yeah, Wild Child actually was the first band that I booked for the show, I think. But I didn't make him the season premiere. I can't remember why, other than just I think my gut said it had to be the Beatles.
Yeah. Dave Brock, he's still doing it to this day. But I met him back in 1980, and he was doing it then. Okay?
Wow,
1980.
He's great. He's one of the bands, and now albeit season 1 people, everyone probably was like, "Who's this girl and what's going on?" So they should have tried to like milk the system a little bit more. But I had to take Dave out to lunch, guys. To get what's going on. Yeah, everyone else was all like over the phone stuff and pre-Zoom, so it was just me, just a girl on the other end of the phone that's like, "Can you sign this contract and show up on this date?"
Wow.
And so people, the season 1 people, I owe a lot of gratitude to, that they did it and that they trusted me with their set list. Because as you probably know, I was a real jerk about set lists.
No, all your
Really?
suggestions were great.
Yeah, they were great. You were, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because so here's the thing, and I realized it. So many bands, would submit their set list to me, and I needed a set list submitted to me in advance because we would put graphics on the screen to be like, oh, this is one by U2, and so the graphic would pop up, and I needed to know these orders of these songs, and so we knew how long, what the time was, how long you were going to play it for, which is also a challenge with the bands, because I'd be like, and I need to know how long the song is, and they'd be like, we've never timed ourselves playing it, and I was like, it's live TV. I need to know exactly how long everything is, so get to the rehearsal studio and do it. And you tell me when you're going to talk, because you can't talk unless you've told me you're going to talk, and you need to keep it to 30 seconds. I had a lot of rules. There was a very tight, thing, because again, we're trying to hit exactly like 57 minutes.
Sure.
But sorry, what was I talking about?
About making
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, the set lists.
Yes.
So many of the bands, you guys would submit your set list, and you would have like a real turd song at the front, like a B-side or something slow.
Are you saying?
I'll go back and look at the emails, Jim. You may have submitted a turd. But I know why you did that, because you're used to like playing something while people are sitting down and getting into the room, getting their cocktail, getting this. Like, you can't just come straight out with like Black Dog, right? Like, you got to build up to that. But for TV, heck yeah, I want people to be like, oh, it's 7:00. Turn on the TV. Raise that curtain. Hey, mama. Like, I want to hear it.
That's right. You want to come out of the gate blaring. Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Yeah. No, I submitted it for Zepp again. Well, the second time I didn't have to, because we were doing the Zeppelin 4 album in its entirety. So that was an easy one. I think you had just said, hey, at the end of it, can you throw in Kashmir and, Immigrant Song or something like that. But that was the easy one. The first one, really had to think through it. But you had some great suggestions for the set, and we went ahead and made those alterations.
I think I remember Kenny Metcalf later actually said you were right, which was really nice. He wanted to come out with something. I can't remember what he wanted to come out with, but I was like, no, I need to hear dun 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 dun. Hey, and And he did not want to, because that's something that, respectfully in a normal show, you would never start with. But I was like, I want that curtain to rise and I want that note to be heard.
Yeah.
And he pushed back. He had the balls to push back on me. And I was like, no, Kenny, no means no, man. And then he started with it and it sounded great. And he sounded great. And the show looked great. And he said, I think you were right. And I was actually really, really happy that he didn't hold resentment towards that request.
What was the most challenging aspect of putting that show on week after week? I mean, it had to be pretty stressful. I mean, what do you think was the most challenging thing?
Every week.
So the hardest thing was, what was great is that I had a lot of consistency, right? Same cameraman almost every week, right? You saw the two twins up front with the handheld, same crew. That was turnkey. The venue became turnkey. The audience became turnkey. There were so many return visitors and everything. The hardest thing was that I did have the wild card of a new band every week. This dog is like licking and sweating me. I'm just for a minute. And so the wild card was the band, and especially if it was an out of town band traveling, that got hard sometimes. Just trying to explain to them, just like simple things like where the venue is and what hotels were good to book, and that I'm gonna do your set list for you, and just getting them to turn, like it was like homework sometimes, to be like, hey guys, I need you to send me your promo photos by Monday. And it's like Wednesday. And I'm like, where's the promo photos? So dealing with the wild card bands, because 80% of the bands were very professional and handled things well, but a lot of them still put on a great show. They were professional, like once we said like action, but they're loosey-goosey leading up to it. Yeah, man, it's going to be cool. We're going to put on a good show. And you're like, no, we don't wing it. Like, so that was stressful. It's the bands that were just like, nah, you just got to trust me. And I was like, I can't trust you. It's live television. There's no trust here.
Did I stress you out at all, Kate?
No. No, you didn't stress me out. I mean, Queen Nation, those guys, so good, professional. Yeah. I do remember, God, this is good that I can't remember who told me this story, but someone from Queen Nation was like, oh, I'm so happy that our week finally came and went. I'm sick and tired of having diarrhea waiting to do the show. I can't remember which guy told me that. Oh, well, now you know one of the guys at Queen Nation was pooping his brains out weeks leading up.
Yeah, there you go. It's probably Mike.
It would be Mike. I was just saying. Mike likes that potty talk.
Okay, so here's the biggest question of them all, and I know everybody that's watching right now is curious about the answer to this, and that is there any chance of a World's Greatest Tribute Band reboot in the future, and whose email inbox do we need to flood to make that happen?
All right, so right now I would say it's slim to none. It was a cheap show to do, but it was an expensive show. And so a lot of people don't understand this because they're like, oh, why can't I find the repeats and all that stuff? So we were able to do the show because it was live. And God, Dan Johnson of the Pink Floyd tribute could talk all about this. Live music versus recorded music is totally different laws apply, right? So when it was live, I didn't have to ask the writer and owner of the music for permission.
Yes.
But once it was recorded, and if it replayed 3 days later, I would have to go to them and ask for permission. Hey, Paul McCartney, what do you think of us taking Blackbird and playing it on this little show with these guys you don't know, right? He'd probably say no. So doing it live, and so we did get 2 broadcasts out of it because there's also a rule where there's like the East Coast and West Coast feed, kind of like think of SNL back in the day. So we were able to get the 2 feeds out of it and do it live and not have to ask for the permission. We still had to pay like ASCAP BMI, but that's even cheaper for live. Think about how they have to pay for it in venues when you hear it like over the speakers. But the minute you actually record and then put it to video and play it later, the permission and the money and the dollar signs are off the charts.
I see.
So it's a cheap show initially, but it was expensive because we couldn't repeat it.
I see.
Right.
I see.
And since this was, I don't want to, I'll use the word passion project. So since it was a Mark Cuban passion project, although it wasn't, I think it was a brilliant project and it wasn't just a passion thing. Mark said yes, because Mark has a different pocketbook. There's new owners at the network. Their mandates are different. They want to be able to repeat things. They want to be able to sell things overseas.
Sure.
This show is hard to do. Now, I've definitely thought of ways to bring back old footage and do things. And I mean, I have some ideas. And I want to try to do something again with the tribute bands. So that's not dead in the water. Bringing back what we knew may not be viable anymore, but I mean, never say never.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the show, and I like would fight passionately for it. And there's just the idea of even, what if I brought it somewhere else?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, your answer to that last question, that makes sense now, because people used to say, Jim, I didn't see it when it came on, but can I catch the replay? And I'm like, I don't think they are showing a replay of it. Now that makes sense as to why.
So Joe says, what about a world's greatest tribute band CD?
Well, Dan Johnson made like 3 different ones. So that was a really fun thing, is when bands would get booked on the show. I think it was starting like in season like 4 or 5, maybe as early as 3. But the bands, I would say, hey, you're booked on the show. Congratulations. You have to be here at X, Y, and Z time. But then I'd say there's this opportunity, which isn't associated with the show. But if you'd like to go to this recording studio and record 3 of your songs, let me introduce you to Dan Johnson. Sure. And they would go over to the recording studio and record some songs. And we did put together some compilation CDs that I love and adore. And they sold them at the shows a little bit. So I don't have them anymore. That's a Dan Johnson thing. So if you want the CD, I think there's 2 or 3 volumes, and it's great.
Yeah.
And you're like, that has to be Led Zeppelin. You're like, no, it's Led Zeppelin. But yeah, I think those are still available. Dan can get those to you. Just go to Which One's Pink and just start harassing their Facebook page and say, get me Dan.
Okay.
So let's talk about the top 10.
Well, yeah. I mean, so now since then, so that was 2013 to 2017.
But then we had 2 reunions. We did have 2 reunions.
We're going to do another one.
We're going to do it every year.
That's what's crazy is, can we talk about last year's reunion? So there we are. It's 2020. It's like February 20th, maybe, that we did it. And I mean, that was the last live concert I went to. What about you guys?
It was
us too.
Well, I played a few times leading up.
That's only because you're in 12 bands. Like, you don't count.
I literally I think it was the 16th of March, got him off a cruise ship. He walked out to my car and the world shut down. I mean, it was,
little did I know I was in store for the longest vacation of my life.
But it was good. Right. We didn't hate it.
Truly, it kicked everyone's butt. It kicked a lot of industries' butt, but it kicked the music industry.
It really did. You're right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I was asking her this, Katie, but she didn't have an answer for me. So I'll ask you, if everything opens up, like they say in June 15th, is that when California is supposed to open up completely?
Yeah.
What would you think about doing a show later in the year?
Oh, I'd totally do it. I'm sure. I know the whiskey would be up for it. The whiskey would be up for it, hands down. Well, hold on. I said that with a knee-jerk reaction because I want to do it. I guess I would have to talk to my family.
Okay.
I have to talk to my family because our safety. I do have a child at home who isn't vaccinated. Right. And listen, I mean, I know there's a lot of things out there, but I believe in vaccines. I believe that COVID exists, and I think that it's our job, everyone, to get vaccinated, even if it's not for yourself. It's to protect the next person. So. I believe in this cause and being safe, and I like me some Dr. Fauci, and so once we can do this and exactly. Once it's safe and once I know that it's the right thing with my family for me being somewhere, or that everyone would be okay that I am wearing my mask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blinged out by a combination of Brenda and Kenny Metcalf.
There you go.
So we did discuss it, and we decided that maybe 2022
Well, yeah, but I mean,
might be a good option.
we might be able to keep it an annual thing.
He wants to do it so bad.
I know you need it. You want it. God, 2021. I want one too. And so if it's feasible, I know the venue would love it. I know we bring in the fans, and the fans bring in the dollars to the bar, and that's how we get the venue for this. So as long as everyone else is going to show up and drink their butts off, and the fans want to do it, and we feel decently safe,
we'll do it responsibly.
Yeah, I want to do it. I want to do it every year. I want to do it every week.
Yeah,
I know.
Wouldn't that be great?
I would love to. And then, so top 10, and then I
yeah.
had the honor of working on the very, very best of the 70s with you,
Yeah.
which was fun. I loved every minute of it. I was grateful that you asked me to be a part of that. I loved it. It was amazing for me.
Thank you. No, I'm happy that you were there and got to see kind of the ins and outs of that. That's another one of my babies that I love, but is canceled now. So unfortunately, again, with the network changes, the mandates changed, and so that show's not around. But we still have the top 10. Top 10 revealed is going into season 4. It premieres on Sunday, May the 9th. And listen, if you've never watched this show, this is probably the worst way for me to describe it to people. But it is a great show to watch with your phone in your hand and be scrolling and doing stuff, because you don't have to think about it. It's not like you're watching like a Dateline mystery and all of a sudden you're like, wait, who did it? You're not going to miss anything, but it's good. It's music in the background and cool commentators. Every week it's a different list being counted down, 10 to 1. Everything from the top 10 70s breakup songs, top 10 awesome albums of 1981, top 10 90s grunge bands, top 10 songs with the word hot in them. And that's the season premiere. May 9th is like hot songs.
Yeah. Do you come up with those subjects?
Yeah. So me and Eddie, the unsung hero, my husband, we come up with these lists, and then we have people vote on them. We put a question online, and you could be like, what's your favorite hot song? And we get the comments, and we figure it out and get them all ranked and everything. And then what's great is that then you tune in, and you get the song, but then you get cool commentary. So you have someone like Dee Snider or Sebastian Bach or Carney Wilson or James Durbin or the middle kid from Full House, being like, oh, I love Drop It Like It's Hot, Drop It Like It's Hot. And so you get these cool commentators going, and I host the show and I do the voiceover.
Okay, great.
So good. So good.
What other things do you have your hand in that might be on the horizon?
It's on the horizon for you.
Well, okay. So the first thing, so make sure everyone's stalking me at Katie Daryl, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I just started the Instagram, so there's not a lot. There's a lot of baby photos of my kid, but I'm trying to dabble in it. I avoided Instagram for a long time just because the network had mandated you need to do this on Twitter, you need to do this on Facebook. That when Instagram came around, I was like, enough's enough, and that's where I put my hand down. But now I'm like, okay, everyone's shifted over to Instagram, so I got to push it there. So if you can give me a couple follows, I'd appreciate it.
What is the email address, Katie?
No, the Instagram is just at Katie Daryl.
At Katie Daryl. Okay, we got it.
There we go. But yeah, if you follow me, and then make sure the AXS TV has an app now, so you can get a bunch of the shows on an app. AXS TV has their Facebook and YouTube page, and that's where a lot of my stuff will go up. If you're not watching the shows on the actual television channel, you can catch my interviews with, I think, turds. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up for you right now. Let's see. Tomorrow, I've got an interview with Aaron Lewis, from the lead singer of Stained. It's been a while. That guy. Next week is an interview with the Dropkick Murphys. The week after that, The Offspring. The week after that is OK Go. Linda Perry, Mary Clayton, who sang with the Rolling Stones.
Sure.
So I do these weekly interviews, and then on Fridays is the Music High Five, which is the music show. But yeah, I don't know. I just just be cool, man. Just
You are a busy girl. I'm telling you.
I know.
Oh,
It is funny though. You mentioned about the World's Greatest Tribute Bands, and I do have this reminder. And I'm sure we all have this on our digital calendars, where you have like a reminder that like you see it every week, and you
yes.
move it to the next week, and then you see it, and you move it to the next week, because it's just you got other things. Life gets in front of it, and there is this reminder about this World's Greatest Tribute Band spin-off idea, and I'm like, got to make that sizzle.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, of all the shows that you've been a part of, what has been the most enjoyable for you, do you think?
I mean, and I don't say this because of the present company. I mean, World's Greatest Tribute Bands was really my favorite. I liked that every week it was a new band and it's music that I loved and people loved and everyone seemed happy. And I got that instant feedback, whether it was instantly on Twitter or just from someone at the end of the show being like, that was awesome. That was my favorite. And then next week, that was awesome. That was my favorite. I loved that. I also, like, selfishly, I became a mom during that time. So it's special to me because I think of that whole process. I think of some really, really cool conversations and moments I had with Michelle from Mirage, talking about becoming a mother and some of the stuff that she's gone through. So sharing really intimate friendship moments with everyone that I became friends with, I think that was the biggest thing. And then also there was no post-production. So when I was done with the show, I was done. I didn't have to edit. So the next day I didn't have to work again. I got to kind of have 2 days off before I was like, okay, I got to call that other band and find out what hotel they're staying at. My other favorite was when I used to do Deadline, but World's Greatest Tribute Band definitely comes.
I mean, from that show, so many friendships. I have to say, so many friendships formed.
It's the
that
great thing about it.
You guys vacation with tribute bands now.
We do. We take them to Puerto Vallarta.
And we didn't know any of those people.
None of them, because everybody plays on the same night. So that Wednesday night was a chance for everybody to connect.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was a really impactful
so
time.
We thank you. We thank you for, because that would have not happened.
Absolutely.
We have some of the very best friends we've ever had because of that show.
Yes.
I love it. And I love hearing that. And I've gotten, I've heard those personal stories. I've gotten personal letters from people. Remember Joe from Hollywood U2 sent me a letter that's like still saved in my inbox. I click it as unread so that it is one that you notice,
Yes.
A really lovely note about his friendships and like continuing in the business. And that stuff is so important to me. And I mean, like really, like the fact that I'm friends with you guys now, not just like people that came and went, it shows a lot to the tribute community.
Yeah. Oh, it really does.
Neat. It's a neat thing. It's a really neat thing.
Yes.
Neat thing.
And listen, I see Manny there, there's a lot of unsung heroes like Manny, Manny and Renee Silverman, and James, who would show up and photograph every week.
Yeah.
Like having those memories, in photos is so wonderful too, and then them taking, listen, I know we all do things because there's always your own invested interest. I mean, I know Manny wants the good pictures because he wants the good pictures, but like it helps me and it helps the bands, and I appreciate that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Julie.
that show was so important in just bringing awareness, to tribute bands in general.
Yeah.
It was huge for us.
Definitely.
I mean, did the show help you?
Absolutely.
A lot. Yeah,
absolutely. We still, I don't know if you see any of Led Zeppelin or the Long Run's advertisements, but we still
use the
logo, and
it's a dope logo, right? It really is. Eddie gets a giant thumbs up for that one as well, because we had a designer that came up with like 3 or 4 options, and Eddie was like, no, tell them to change this on this one, and it's a yes. And I was like, cool, because I mean he's really artistic, and I trust him, and he has those instincts. And so the final one was, Mark Cuban approved the final, but Eddie was like, send that one to Mark.
That's funny, man. I didn't know that. See, all this stuff we've been wanting to know, and we're finally getting answers. So
we're getting answers.
This has been incredible. Next week, in fact, we've got another world's greatest alumni. Yeah, you remember Brad Ford from Fortunate Son, the Creedence?
Yeah. Oh,
He's
so
incredible, isn't he?
so good. But like, you could say any of the tribute bands' names, and I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
because every week I felt like that was the best. I was like, that one's my favorite. That was the best. I mean,
Yes.
I never, maybe 2 times I maybe went home. I was like, oh, it was a little off. But I mean, every band was so great, so great.
Absolutely.
And so many bands not only were great and delivered, but some of the bands really over delivered and really surprised me that night and in the room. And that was really great.
That's great. That's great.
Well, we appreciate you so much. We love you. I love you. And
Last question, though.
Yeah. Yep.
Who is your favorite classic rock band?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
God, it's so hard. It's so hard.
You may want to fifth on that one.
I mean, come on, you guys. You know, it's like in your mood, like, because I want to be like AC/DC, but like 12 songs in, I'm like, enough, stop it. I can't rock as hard anymore. Like, stop the explosions. I need to bring it down.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Beatles. I think that there's like from start to finish, and the way their career spanned in the
I think a lot of people are right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I think what they did, but you know.
Yeah. They were the most.
U2 was my first major concert to go to, so they have a special place in my heart. I mean,
yeah.
Karaoke, I only sing Creedence Clearwater because that's my vocal range.
That's awesome.
Because it works for me.
Exactly. Out on the corner, Jonathan Street.
Whenever I do that stuff at karaoke, I always have to gargle with Drano beforehand to get that gravel in my throat.
Gravel. It's the gravel. It's about the gravel.
But karaoke is one of those things, right? When will you ever be like, yeah, let me just hold this mic that this other stranger just
Probably never happen again, right?
like you will bring your own mic condoms. Like you'll be like, I put my own mic on top of it.
Not a bad idea.
Absolutely.
Condoms are always a good idea.
Yeah. No matter what the activity, right?
Exactly, friends. If we take anything away from today's conversation. Hey, Darren, thanks for watching.
Katie, thank you so much for being with us.
We love you so much.
Yeah. Paul. Oh my God, Paul, I need to talk to you. Send me an email. I have some.
Oh, send an email, Paul.
Oh wait, yes. Actually, I need to. I'm just going to make this big announcement right now. I got kind of going above and beyond, but this is kind of what I mentioned to you about. So AXS TV has a new show that they're working on. I'm not a producer. I'm not a host. I'm truly just consultant helping.
Yes.
Basically, they're using my Rolodex, and I'm not getting paid for it. But it's essentially, think of Antique Roadshow.
Yes.
But with rock and roll memorabilia, right? So they're doing something similar to that. So if anyone's watching and they have something really epic where you're like, I do have Paul Stanley's show-worn shoes from 1977.
Oh, man.
And they're autographed or even not. Like, things like that. Or, oh, I have a newspaper clipping of the day, John Lennon was killed, but it's autographed by Ringo. Or it doesn't have to be something autographed, just something where it's like, I happen to own this original Fender and there's only 20 made and there's this one. And like, so they're looking for weird stuff like that.
Something with a story.
Yeah. They're doing this show, and there's an appraiser that's going to be looking at things and appraising it, much like Antique Roadshow. There's going to be the opportunity that if you wanted to actually sell the item, they're paired up with an auction house, so you could put your thing for auction right then. Otherwise, it's just telling the story of your unique item, them saying what it's worth or not worth, that, oh, it only has sentimental value. Anyways, so they're looking for these type of things. So just trying to help out some fellow producers. So if you
we'll have to look out for that.
Drop me an email or drop Brenda or Jim an email, and I can try and put you in touch with that team.
Yeah, that sounds.
But I thought of Paul because I'm like, something tells me he has some awesome kids stuff.
He said he's going to talk to you soon.
And if anything, listen, my only biggest advice is, again, I'm not a producer on this show. if they say, yes, we want to talk to you, and they say, sign this paper, say, I need it to say that you 100% will plug my band as a lower third on screen, or let me verbally talk about it. That's the advice I'd give anyone, is say,
There you go.
I ain't doing it for free. You got to give me the plug.
That's
There
right.
you go.
That's right. That's
Absolutely.
right. That's right.
Well, thank you so much, Katie. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we had a blast with you. So
maybe-
much fun.
Maybe a little further down the line, if you would come
If
back.
Jim
Love
gets to come back for a second time, I get to come
Love
back.
you.
Absolutely.
Number
This-
two.
This has been so great. We can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. But
Happy to do it, you guys.
okay.
We love you. We love you.
Well,
All right. Thank you so much for
thanks
joining us. We hope that, I don't know, 2022, we'll be able to do a reunion.
No, end of 2021.
He keeps
That's what
pushing for that. But
that way it'll be annual, right, Katie?
I'm down with it. I'm
we'll
down with
see.
it.
We'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Katie, thank
Bye,
you.
you
so much.
guys.
Have a great
Uh,
night. Say hi to Eddie for us.
All right.
I will. I will. You guys, see you
All
soon.
right.
Okay, good night.
All right.
right,
So
well,
good
that was
night.
awesome.
Yeah.
That
So
was
much
so
fun
cool.
with our girl Katie.
So many
She's
so many
amazing.
questions answered. That was those things were on my mind, and we probably should have just called her and said, hey, can we go to dinner? I want to ask you some questions. But
We've
it's
been to dinner.
It's so much more interesting this way. So thanks for joining us tonight, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Next week, like I said, Brad Ford from Fortunate Son. Believe it or not, I have known that guy for 40 years.
I couldn't believe that when I heard that.
years.
Yes, that's
Brad
amazing.
Nobody is better doing Creedence Clearwater. I mean, singing Fogerty. That guy is absolutely phenomenal.
So we have Brad, and then the next week we have Julie Dolan.
Yeah, that's right.
Julie Dolan's
Julie
going to
will be
join
joining
us. I believe Julie. So Brad
What
is.
date would that be?
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, Brad's going to be next week. The week following Julie Dolan, I am going to actually put a little calendar up so people know the dates. But we are going to talk to these amazing people, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's going to be a good month for WAW.
Yeah. Where important topics of the day are largely ignored,
and foolishness reigns supreme.
So,
as you
you guys understand what that means, right?
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I know.
They just witnessed an hour and a half.
I know. We just bombarded Biden's speech.
Okay, so we're gonna go in and we're gonna see what Joe had to say. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
We will definitely see you here next Wednesday night at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Barring another State of the Union address.
Yep.
And
no, we're not going to do that again.
Thank you so much for joining us, and God bless you.
Yeah.
Keep on rocking in the free world, and we will see you next week.
Yeah. Bye, guys. See you next week.